Anti-corruption and transparency units in ministries, departments, and agencies across the country were established to serve as a mechanism for corruption prevention, which is a statutory function of ICPC under Section 6B to D of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. The Corruption Monitoring and Evaluation Department of ICPC coordinates, monitors, and evaluates anti-corruption activities of actors in MDAs. Today's edition features the Deputy Commissioner and Head CMED, who will tell us more on the fight against corruption in Nigeria's MDAs. Welcome to the program, Corruption Must Go, ICPC's weekly television program. I am Ruth Awodi. Also on the program, we shall continue with the explanation of the provisions of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. We also have anti-corruption stories and many more.
They say every day is for the thief, one day for the owner of the house. But ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, has reversed the role. It is now every day for the owner of the house. If you're involved in bribery, over-invoicing, or any shady deal, the day of reckoning has come. ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission, is watching you. If you're reported for any corrupt practice, you'll be investigated, prosecuted, and punished. Corruption is harmful to our nation. Join the campaign against it by reporting any corrupt practice to ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Let we join hands with ICPC, make them better. Let's make Nigeria great again. ICPC, they want you. Hand for corruption.
Break the chain of corruption now. Don't give, don't take. This message is brought to you by ICPC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Welcome to this segment of the program Corruption Must Go. I am Murna Barnabas Atiai. The Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee has made a formal presentation of framed posters in support of criminal justice institutions in Nigeria to ICPC recently in Abuja. The posters, which have pictures and messages depicting various themes and elements of the Nigerian Criminal Justice Administration, were designed to create awareness on the obligations of law enforcement agencies in the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria and aid effective dissemination of information. Speaking during the presentation, the Special Assistant to the President on Prosecution, Chief Okoy Obono Obla, declared that the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 was one of the measures put in place by the federal government of Nigeria to modernize and reform the criminal justice system.
ICPC, by its mandate, is one of the agencies that has a crucial role to play in the administration of criminal justice in our country. So the committee is to ensure, among others, that criminal matters are expeditiously dealt with, that congestion of criminal cases in our courts is drastically reduced, congestion in prison is reduced to the barest minimum, persons awaiting trial are as far as possible not detained in prison custody. The committee is also to ensure that all the organs and institutions involved in the administration of criminal justice in the country, they work together, they collaborate by sharing information, and also to collect, analyze, and publish information concerning the administration of criminal justice in Nigeria.
In his remarks, the ICPC chairman, Mr. Ekpo Nta, said the commission was already doing a lot in ensuring that the rights of suspects in ICPC custody were protected. This, he said, the commission does by putting suspects through medical checks when brought into custody.
One overlapping process we have here too is that the arresting officer is not the officer who takes, the arresting unit or department is not the one that is taking custody. You hand over the suspect to our intelligence and support unit. And the standing order is that as soon as that person is processed, the chairman must get an alert immediately as to who is in custody and for what reasons. So wherever I am in the world, I get that alert. We've taken people in who on the outside look very healthy, and when they check the BP, it's hitting 200, which if you put such a person in custody is immediate stroke. And where we still think we need to keep you in spite of the medical condition, we have a retainership with the clinic next door, in fact beyond our fence here, Limi Clinic, Limi Specialist Hospital. It's a big place. So we take you there at our cost, and you have to inform your people immediately. We've had situations where a suspect, the one that took over $1 billion from the Federal Ministry of Environment a few years ago, we tracked him down and were able to recover substantial sums. While in our custody, his double hernia manifested because while he was on the run, I think he was taking herbs to suppress it. So we took him into the national. They wanted to do the operation at Limi Clinic. I said no, because people would not understand if anything happens to him. So we took him to the national hospital.
Senior government officials from states consisting mainly of commissioners for finance, accountants general and auditors general have undergone a 3-day intensive training on anti-corruption and fraud prevention at the Anti-Corruption Academy of Nigeria, KEFI, the research and training arm of ICPC. The training was aimed at entrenching probity and accountability in all facets of state government operations. While declaring the program open, ICPC chairman Mr. Ekpo Nta told the participants that corrupt practices could not be completed if accountants, auditors and lawyers were not involved. He therefore called on the participants to desist from unethical behaviors that foster corruption.
What we're doing here today is to put heads together as accountants, as auditors, as anti-corruption specialists, to find out ways that will not allow these monies to go out and embarrass our professions, embarrass the country. The whole key has been passed to public funds, and most corrupt activities cannot be concluded if accountants and lawyers, when you look at our profession, are not complicit to quite a number of the activities that happen.
Earlier in his remarks, the Provost of Akan, Professor Shola Akinriadi, who was represented by the Deputy Provost, Mr. Matthew Ame, had stated that one major purpose of the training was to sensitize and build the capacity of critical stakeholders in states across the country to become viable partners in the war against corruption.
There is a critical need to expand the bands of stakeholders dedicated to fighting wholeheartedly the war against corruption. Given the situation in which we have found ourselves as a country, especially our corruption-induced arrested development, the war must be fought at every level. If we are to achieve lasting and sustainable results, for the effort of federal government to achieve the full effect, they must be complemented by interventions and initiatives at the other tiers of government.
In his goodwill message, the Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Ahmed Idris, who was represented by the Director Revenue and Investment, Dr. Bakari Wadinga, pleaded that the fight against corruption should not be seen as a federal government affair, but rather as a collective responsibility.
Corruption could best be tackled through preventive measures by ensuring effective and strong structures or institutions transparent process, checks and balances, monitoring and control or evaluation, constant audit and transparency with timely reporting. This training, therefore, is not about the individual participants present here today, but about the institutions we are representing, and it is therefore expected that whatever we are able to take home from here should be passed to others by way of train the trainers.
Fighting corruption must be multidimensional in nature and needs the cooperation of all patriotic Nigerians. Deliberate and conscious measures must be introduced to identify opportunities for corruption and enough means to introduce discouragement and apply. Their organization's three rules need to be followed for effective corporate governance, which an accountable entity is required to uphold.
Some of the issues the training addressed included the implementation of e-government and e-transactions in Nigeria, integrity imperative in the workplace, and corrupt practices in governance.
Corruption not in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this?
Madam, now the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy. Make her show you something. What? What's in this one? Madam, this one now the chemical what they put on for the plantain make her ripe up.
So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical.
Water. You know say Pela I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink them.
Where I collect that water, drink them.
I just stop finish. See my belly. It don't big. I just stop drink water finish.
I don't drink. Wait, can drink them now. At the sell plantain, I go come put on for chemical because I want to make a ripe go. That's why I talk now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me talk.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
In a bid to ensure effectiveness of the anti-corruption fight in the country, ICPC created the Corruption Monitoring and Evaluation Department, CMED, to effectively strengthen the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Units, ACTUs, which are domiciled in Nigeria's MDAs, to serve as the eyes and ears of the Commission. This department coordinates ACTU activities and administers an ethics and compliance scorecard to MDAs to ensure adherence to rules and standards. How effective is this approach, and what is the level of compliance? Mr. Akim Lawal, head of CMED, explains further.
Briefly, the work of or rather the functions of the department are basically four. The first and major of which is the establishment and coordination of what we call the monitoring, anti-corruption and transparency units in all the ministries, departments and agencies of government. This anti-corruption and transparency unit is a creation of the ICPC that is meant to coordinate the mainstreaming of integrity and anti-corruption issues in all the MDAs in the country in order to create a sterile environment for government processes and functions to achieve the results and prevent corruption within the system. Also, the department is also in charge of the periodic evaluation and monitoring of anti-corruption issues in the country in general. From time to time, we conduct surveys to know the level of corruption, to know what are responsible for corrupt practices at different times, with a view to marshalling out the solutions that would work. Nigeria is a very big country, so perhaps people may not have been having the effect of what we're doing, but fighting corruption is a long process. We know that with time, the great work of ICPC in this area would have impact. On the other hand, the department is also in charge of the system audit of ministries, departments, and agencies to ensure compliance with processes, rules, and procedure. It is also engaged in developing what we call anti-corruption toolkits that conform with best practices, for the ministries, departments, and agencies. These are toolkits that they are expected to use in addressing the issue of corruption from time to time, amongst which is developing template for them for whistleblowing, developing template for the kind of sensitization we expect them to carry out within the organization to bring everybody into full throttle in fighting corruption. The Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit came about as a consensus that derived from the conference that the ICPC held sometime in 2001. That was just about a year after the inception of the commission. And the agreement amongst participants at that conference was that there was need to prevent corruption within government agencies. In the wisdom of that conference, it was necessary to have people within organizations, especially in the public service. People won't be regarded as people of integrity. We can't say it's everybody in the public service that is corrupt. We have highly integrous people within the system. So it was agreed that those within those systems could be used to form what we call a cell. And the cell would now be named, would be referred to as the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit, that to mainstream anti-corruption processes in those ministries, departments, and agencies. They are expected to be constantly on guard to ensure that things that would likely lead to corrupt practices in the operations of those organizations are immediately identified and quickly resolved, so that corruption is not allowed to fester within the system. We feel that the Act 2 is a mechanism that would assist greatly in preventing corruption over time. For one, it is a system thing, it's a system approach to fighting corruption, in which case people are expected to play their own roles within the system to ensure that issues of trust, issues of integrity, issues bordering on loyalty to the organization, issues of transparency, ethics, and accountability are constantly brought to the fore in the administration of those organizations as well as the operations. And we feel it's quite sustainable because in as much as one would want to say enforcement is primary in fighting corruption, prevention perhaps might be more important because it is what at the end of the day will let people see the reasons why they don't have to engage in corrupt practices at all. And if they are conscientized to that level, the level that all of us have a stake in this, ensuring that we run a transparent process, an accountable government, then the reorientation would have sunken in, and we expect that our organizations will run better. Said that ICPC on its own part has a group of people who call the desk officers that are appointed from within ICPC to monitor the activities of the members of the Act 2 in MDAs. And what are they expected to do? They're expected to be part of the meetings that the Act 2s are expected to hold once in every month, at least once in every month. And once in every month and at least once in a quarter. And our officers, who are the desk officers, are expected to be part of this. They are there to direct them, guide them, on what to do, and how to do the things they're expected to do. And this to ensure that the actors themselves are not allowed to be used for corruption purposes within their system. So there's a regular guidance and guidance, to say, of the actors. With the reporting mechanism that we're put in place, we're able to check the activities from time to time.
Corruption not in my country.
What do you want to buy?
Potato. Small baskets. I want plantain. But why your plantain can't hard like this? Why?
Madam, na the outside hard. Inside there, it is very soft.
Madam, wallahi make her no buy am. Make I show you something. What? What's in this one? Madam, this one na the chemical where they put am for the plantain make her ripe up.
So you dey put chemical for plantain where people go chop?
No water, no be chemical.
Water. You know say Pela I don't talk and say water and not be enemy. Drink am.
Where you collect that water, drink am.
I just stop finish. See my belly. It don't big. I just stop drink water finish.
Wake can drink am now. At the sell am plantain I go come put am for chemical because I want to make a ripe ko. That one I talk and now corruption. Corruption. Not be for this kaswa, come not be for this country. Now me talk.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Section 52 of the ICPC Act is a very interesting section because it's a section that tries to prefer the solution to the problem of immunity, constitutional immunity granted to the president, vice president, governors, deputy governors of in Nigeria. Now, that section provides that if there are offenses of allegation against the president or vice president or governor and the deputy governor within the within a democratic dispensation in Nigeria, that such a president or vice president could be investigated under the provisions of this section 52 of the ICPC Act. But the condition is that it is the Chief Justice of the Federation, that's the CJN, that would, if it's satisfied that sufficient cause has been shown for that investigation, appoint a legal practitioner that is not less than 15 years post-call to conduct this investigation. Now, this provision also puts to rest this issue of the criminal liability of people that hold these offices. It is not that these persons are immune from criminal investigations. It's just that you cannot proceed against them for prosecution of an offense while they hold these offices. So under this section, they could be investigated following this procedure. But after the investigation, it is required that the report of the investigation be laid before the National Assembly in the case of the president or the vice president, or the State House of Assembly in the case of governor or his deputy. Now, the purpose of this is that it is possible that these offenses investigated could also be impeachable offenses. So if this report is laid before the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly, it is possible for them to commence impeachment proceedings against these individuals. And once that impeachment proceedings is successfully concluded, then criminal prosecution could follow. Well, in all this, there's a proviso in subsection 2. It provides the extent to which the commission can come in investigations like this. The commission would not ordinarily be involved, but the commission is enjoined to fully cooperate with such independent counsel and provide all the facilities necessary for such independent counsel to carry out its functions. So to this extent, the commission comes in to assist in investigation of the individuals mentioned in subsection 50, in this section 52 of the ICPC Act.
That's our package for this week. If you have any complaints, questions or suggestions, you can call us on 0800 CALL ICPC. You can also reach us on our social media platforms. You can also watch this program via our YouTube channel on www.youtube.com/ICPC Nigeria. Thank you for watching this edition. We'll see you again, same time, same station. Bye for now.